Signals like these are very affordable on Amazon or eBay, but their looks do leave something to be desired, and I wanted to see if I could do something about that. The solution I came up with is very, very affordable and very, very quick and easy to do. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy from the DIY and Digital, and today I'm going to take these signals and make them look a whole lot better. This video is brought to you with support from my patrons on Patreon. I buy these signals off of eBay, and I'm pretty sure I'm going with the person who actually makes them. And the reason for this is I requested a custom one a few years ago from this eBay seller, and they were able to make it and send it to me. I'll link this seller in the description below. There's also a lot more variety of signals on this eBay seller page than you will find on Amazon. The first signal that I'm going to work on is the 2-aspect signal. Now I need to cut off a few things, which includes the base, the ladder, and the little top plate right there. It's a little standing plate. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by removing the ladder, and you do a little bit of cutting with your nippers right there, and it pulls the ladder right off. You do want to be careful when you're cutting up around the signal head because the wires are very thin and very easy to cut up there. The next thing that you're going to do is go ahead and cut off any edges that you see, and then you're going to get the signal looking like this. Next, we're going to cut off the little base plate, which is the original where the signal would touch the ground, because we're going to make this signal a little bit taller and we're going to add a base plate to it. But before that, we want to sand everything and make sure there aren't any weird burrs or edges on there. So get it sanded down relatively smooth. For the new base, we're going to be using styrene for that, and I just have some 0.04 inch styrene laying around for my road, so I'm going to use that. You just want a reasonable thickness that'll be able to support the signal, and I just kind of eyeball a little square base, and then once I've done that and I snap it off, I go ahead and mark a rough center point, and then I begin scoring for a cut for the slot for the wires to go in. It was going to be extremely difficult to thread wires through a hole, so I just decided to go ahead and cut a little slot to slide the wires through, and I can put some scenery or something over it just to cover up the little slot, but that's going to make life a lot easier. The next thing I need to do is attach the signal to the new base, and to do that I'm going to be using CA or super glue. So I put a little dab of it on the styrene base, and then I need to attach the signal to it. And I do this by threading the wires through the slot that I've cut and attaching the base of the signal pole to the base of styrene that we have cut, and this makes the signal a little bit taller. Now I also want to add a little control box at the bottom. You see this on a lot of signals, and I just took some scrap styrene and cut it together and did a little bit of super gluing and was able to sand it and file it down to where it looked roughly like a box and put that in. You can also use some strip styrene or something like that to make this. It's probably a lot easier. I just had this laying around and it ended out working out okay. Alright, so we're going to leave this signal alone for a while. We got to do a little bit more work to it, but we're going to head over to the other signal, which is the double 3-aspect signal. The reason I wanted to work on this one is because it's a little short on my layout when you put it next to the track, and that's actually what inspired all of this. So to begin, just like with the other signal, we're going to go ahead and cut off the ladder, but you'll notice that I'm leaving the base plate where it stands up in between the two signals in place. You'll also want to make sure that you save the ladder that you just cut. We're going to use that later. Now, for the rest of it, it's pretty much the same. We're going to go ahead and cut and trim up the entire base where the original base was, make it nice and flush, relatively good. And then we're going to go ahead and cut a styrene base, just like last time, cutting that little slot for the wires. May want to make it a little bit wider because you are going to be threading 7 of those little wires through there. And then attach it with some super glue, also known as CA, and then you let that dry. Now this is where it really begins to look a little bit different, because the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab the ladder that we saved, and we're going to take that and we're going to attach it to the back. Now looking at it really close, it's obvious that it's not going to look exactly prototypical, but this is one of those things where your eye will do some of the work for you. So just attaching the ladder back here adds a little something to the signal, and it makes it look a lot better. So this is what we have right now, and this is everything we need to do to this right now. We need to do some paint to it, which is what we're going to do next. So the first thing we need to do with those is we need to go ahead and wrap the signal heads in painter's tape because we want to keep them that black color. But we're going to be painting the rest of the signals silver. Now I know some of the older layouts, they do have black poles for their signals, but I'm doing a modern layout, which means that the majority of poles and supports for a railroad like this are going to be a metallic silver color. So I'm just going to cover up those signals, and then we're going to be painting the rest of them. Now for this, I'm using some of Krylon's Shortcuts spray paint. It's a metallic silver. You want to make sure that you don't get a glittery silver because you're going to have little glitter flecks on this. The metallic silver right here gets a nice, even metallic silver coat, and it looks really, really good when it's done. That is the first method that I've come up with to make these signals look a lot better. But as you guys know, I have a couple of 3D printers, and I thought, let me see if I can print something up to add onto these signals to make them look better. I whipped up these little models in Tinkercad by designing a signal based off measurements of the actual signals so that I could design it around it. And it's just got a couple different little pads that I can use to glue it in place. I'm actually going to make this model available for 3D printing for my patrons at the engineer level. I would totally sell this in my Etsy store, except for the fact that it is extremely fragile and it would break in transit. There's no question about that. But once you have it printed out and good to go, it's the exact same process up until you get to where you're almost ready to paint, and then you're just going to be taking the 3D printed part and you're going to be gluing it onto the back on those little glue pads right there. And it's very, very simple. Just put some super glue on there and slap it on. For the double-headed signal, again, exactly the same. It does have a few more connection points because it has two separate platforms for each of the signals, but do the super glue and put it right on there. And then you wrap them up with the painter's tape just like the other ones and take them out for paint. If you want to check out some videos on how I use an Arduino to make these signals light up, work, and signal, you can check those out at the end of this video. I really hope this helps some people out because whether it's affordability or scarcity, these signals are the only option for a lot of model railroaders. And I'm really happy with the way that this turned out, so I hope it helps someone out there in the world of model railroading. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. They're listed right here. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. A lot of cool stuff going on over there, including a model of the month at the $5 a month level, and I'm going to be putting the models of the 3D printed parts for the signals up there as well as a bonus model for this month. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check out those videos on how to do projects with these signals. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading. Hey guys, no bloopers today. I know it's weird. I didn't have any bloopers. I actually made it through a whole video. You should check out some of the videos though that I have right over here, including some of the Arduino ones that'll make these signals work. It makes projects like this even more fun when you can wire them up and really get them working, and it brings your model railroad to life. Thank you guys so much for watching.